I'm here with Kae Pea, and wow, you've got some moonlight romance going on in these beautiful pieces, and you said they're really easy to do.
They are.
So how do we get started?
Well, I work on clayboard.
Okay.
So I'm just going to dig right in. We're using these duo ink pads. Well, I call it painting by moonlight, but there's no painting at all. It's all done with ink pads. We're going to start on our clayboard, and we're just going to take the ink pad directly to the surface.
Well, I see the delicacy with which you are doing
Yes, I'm just digging right in.
Which is fantastic. And obviously, you know, clayboard, for people who don't know, will you just tell us a little bit about what that is?
So it is a premium hardboard, and then it's coated with a kaolin clay and baked at a high temperature. And then
so it has a different surface than like paper or anything like that. It's going to hang on to things differently.
Yes, it really takes inks and paints beautifully, and it's really, really smooth. It's a wonderful surface to stamp on.
And I wanted to just point out one of the things I think is really cool about these ink pads that have two different colors is basically I've noticed you rubbed with more with the blue side in the center and more with the white on the edges.
Well, no, I actually left a little bit of white on the outside. I was going to go around it with the darker color. And then a lot of times I will take my white and rub it in the center a little bit to sort of brighten.
That glow.
Yeah, a little bit, that moonlight glow.
Oh, I see.
And then,
And you're not worried about contaminating your ink pads?
No, you can easily wipe them off with a clean, dry paper towel and re-ink them to bring them back.
Okay, cool.
But I really like having the white pad because it tints the hue.
So how do we create the moon?
So I'm going to then, once you get it saturated the way you like it, then I have some already done up here. You're gonna just take a baby wipe and sort of wipe out a little bit.
Right in the area that you want.
Yeah, wherever your image is gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and stamp that one.
And now you're using wood-mounted stamps, but of course there are so many kinds of stamps out there. There's cling, and there's foam, and there's
clear.
silicone, and there's all sorts of stuff. It's really a personal preference as to what you like. You and I were saying that we always like the old-fashioned ones because they look so pretty when you have them in your craft room or your studio.
I do love wood-mounted stamps. I love the way they feel and the way they look. I also do have some cling stamps here as well that we can use
Mix and match.
Yeah, mix and match.
You know, I always say there are a lot of ways to do it all.
So this is a fun way to kind of create the moon. I stamp the face, and then I'm just going to
So you're
tap
only
the edge.
inking the outside of this circle stamp. I was wondering what you were doing. I feel like I'm about to be incredibly impressed. Because wow, I assumed that was a ring stamp or one entire stamp. I had no idea that you could do that.
It's just a
That's
fun
super
way
cool.
to sort of get it where you want it. And then I'm going to take a stencil, and we're going to start removing color with a baby wipe.
So even when it's been dry for a long time, these ink pads, because of the clay you're going to be able to remove it.
You are now. If
could you do this on regular paper?
You can do it on glossy, like a super glossy paper. You can also do it on like a synthetic paper. Like, but I love the clayboard surface for lots of reasons. You get sort of a lot of almost like batik looks and just ghosting and really fun things. That's a little bit wet, but we're gonna just dab it a little bit. Now, here I have one that was already started, and you can see it has this little bit of color, and that's because my stencil had a little color on it, so it transferred.
I never clean anything.
Yeah.
I like it when you get those accidental
Happy
moments.
accidents.
Those are fantastic.
So then I can also just take my paper towel and a little bit of the hue side of the ink pad and add color in.
You're going to use it as an applicator. Paper towel as applicator.
Yes,
That's really clever.
It's whatever I have handy.
I am also a grab whatever's nearest and use it kind of person.
Yeah, a sponge would have been great, but I didn't have one here either, so this will work fine.
There you go, it all works.
Yeah.
I love that we have the light and the dark and the whole thing. It's really nice. So what's next?
So then we're going to just take, I'll keep working on this one. I have this one done to show you. Then I just kept embellishing with more stamps.
Well, I was going to say, I assumed that you would actually draw on each of these dots.
No. This is all stamped. So, and the nice thing about this too is you can see it's not lining up, and that's okay. It overlaps very nicely.
The thing about art is always that, you know, I think you need to give yourself a break and say nothing's perfect. If you look at everything in nature, and that's one of the reasons it's fun to create things from nature, is that they're not perfect. You know, they're irregular, and that's what makes them interesting.
Imperfect. So this is a fun stamp to use this way. You can also, I have a lot of stamps in my collection that I like to use to just sort of.
It's almost shading the edge like the way that dot paintings or anything like that really looks. That's really neat.
So it starts to sort of bring that into focus a little bit. I have another stamp that I actually love, and I know my stamps are very well loved. So
my stamps are filthy at home. I swear,
that's a nicer way of saying it.
I'm not good at cleaning. I feel like cleaning is a waste of my precious crafting time.
That is so true. We need a shirt that says that.
Right?
So I'm just gonna darken up these edges a little bit, and you can layer your colors.
And I can already see how much more depth this has because of that.
Yes, and the other great thing is that you can take, I have these things called ink picks. Well, I mean,
what is an ink pick? It just looks like a stick with a,
It's just a disposable
with a
little
sponge or something?
Yeah, like a little felt synthetic tip, and I use them to grab color. You know, my hues, my ink pad hues
well,
to
I think
fill
it's
in
like
and
anything
paint.
when you're using the dark blue and the light blue together and you're having them kind of meld, and then you've picked up some of that purple, like it all just really starts to blend, and you really are painting with ink pads. I sort of assumed when I heard that you were painting with ink pads that we'd be using a brush.
Oh.
So it's fun to know that we're using direct application and all kinds of other stuff.
Well, and the reason I like the ink picks as opposed to a brush, obviously, is because they're a little bit firmer. They're they're disposable. I mean, I don't throw them away after each time, but you know.
Very cool.
Yeah, so you can just keep going along like this,
Yes.
and then you may want to add some other imagery, like some words or, you know, whatever.
And I can see that you've enhanced the face here.
Yes,
You've really made the lips more special, because we actually, if we look back at the original stamp compared to the enhanced version, it's a big transformation, and that's all just with your ink pick and a little bit of play.
Yep. So I'll do a little bit of that here with you for you. We'll stamp this sentiment here.
And I know you said that we could
enough,
brighten it up too by adding not just the blues but some neon colors, which is what I think I see all in here. So
and again, I just some direct application right to your surface if you want to.
Be brave, be bold. So you're using the corner of the ink pad. Kae Pea, it looks so fantastic. This is really fun. I feel like a moonlight project is in my future.
Oh, I hope so.